Well, we did Dynasty buys on a Tuesday. It's time for Dynasty sells. And Bloom, the conversation is, are they a sell? And I'm just going
Right.
to start with the cover athlete of the day. It is Deebo Samuel. Now, okay, we got some things to work through here. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Ricky Pearsall.
Right.
The words out of camp, by the way, are Ricky is picking things up quickly, and we all know his game is all about run after the catch, kind of like Deebo. So you can't pay everybody.
Right.
Christian McCaffrey getting a reworked deal, new deal there with the 49ers. So it's like, okay, get out on Deebo before he gets hurt again or gets traded to a team that's not as good as San Francisco. Is he really a sell?
Yes. And I think that what we see is uncertainty ahead. And that's the base of why he's a sell, right? In Dynasty, we don't like uncertainty, right? See,
Right,
the
right.
market doesn't like uncertainty. And absolutely, Deebo could get traded. He could get traded before the season. He could get traded before the deadline. And that creates uncertainty because let's face it, I don't think any other team is going to carve out a role as ideal for his skill set. Because that's the thing. If we talk about a Deebo Samuel trade, Cease, number one, you have his contract, and he's not like exorbitant, skyrocketing uh, wide receiver market numbers, but it's still pretty high. So, you're in the 20, 15, 20, $25 million range, and he's not a true wide receiver in the sense that he's not an outside wide receiver. He's not an X. He's not a receiver that you can plug and play in different offenses. And from a fantasy standpoint, the 49ers have also embraced his ability out of the backfield. Not every team does that. So whatever team he's going to be on, and that's the thing, Cease, is we can say it almost seems inevitable at this point that he's not a 49er next year.
Right.
The math doesn't math if he's on the team next year. And the moves all are the 49ers basically telegraphing that one of he or Brandon Ayuk and Mike Silver and look, Mike Silver, Bay Area, you better heed what he's saying. And he basically laid out the possibilities, and they're possibilities. And it's actually accurate to say, look, here's the range of possibilities instead of trying to say we know what's going to happen, because
Right.
he builds in the possibility that the relationship between Ayuk and the team breaks down. Right? I mean, the team wants to get the deal done with Ayuk. The What we keep hearing is it takes two sides, it takes two to tango.
Mhm.
So maybe the team's trying to get out there like, we think he's unreasonable. We think we're offering him a reasonable contract. But this is the kind of situation that has a pull, an inertia, as in it's in motion, and it's going to probably get resolved. And that would just cinch that Samuel is the odd man out here long term. And then at that point, Cease, the dynasty market will react. So you can get out ahead of that easily right now. But then there's a lot more gloom and doom wherever he ends up. And then, like you said, Cease, if he gets hurt, now he's almost impossible to move.
Yeah, so I'm thinking in this dynasty sell thing of like how to look at players and how to spin the sell. And by the way, with Michael Silver, a lot of the times I'll call out agent fed information. I will tell you, having seen it in person, everybody talks to Silver. Players love him. It's like the dope man in high school. Remember that guy, Bloom? You might have been that guy, right? Where you just get
Yeah.
along with everybody, right? And just everybody.
Yeah.
Why is everybody like that guy? Oh, he's selling weed. Sorry, Joe. But like Michael Silver, he's like the dope man of the NFL, with minus the other stuff. But like every players love him.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
love him.
And yeah, so I'm going to heed that. The bottom line here is there's more change coming, and it's probably going to be centered around Samuel.
Yeah. Yep. More change coming. So keep an eye out for that. Now, change had already happened with Keenan Allen. So let's discuss this because as I'm going through and I'm, thinking about who is a sell. And again, Bloom, if you disagree that he would be a sell, then just let me know. I'm thinking new place, and I flippin' love Roma Doomsday. Okay. Like, love him. Absolutely love him. And if he would have been the number one receiver off the board, I wouldn't have been surprised. Wasn't predicting that. But I just look at the Chicago situation, and Caleb's getting better.
Mhm,
The reports have been positive, have been kind about him. But
mhm.
I'm like, I could easily spin a Keenan Allen sell in my dynasty leagues, just hyping up Caleb, hyping up the offense. Oh, Adunze's not. Now I'm giving away all of my secrets live on the air. Maybe not live, but anyway, like, I could easily spin it. Oh, Adunze, he's a rookie. He's not ready. Keenan's the guy. I mean, what, yeah, DJ, whatever. He'll do his thing, whatever. But it's like Caleb will lean on Keenan. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, old, broken, new
Right.
team.
Yeah.
Adunze's a flipping stud. Like, there's several reasons how I can spin it to sell Keenan Allen, but there's also reasons I can go, well, I can sell it with a sinister smile.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, the problem here again, this is a theme between Samuel and Allen is uncertainty ahead. And in the case of Allen, uncertainty now, because unlike Samuel, Allen's in a new situation with a new quarterback. Last year, Allen, before he got hurt, was elite in PPR scoring, especially. He was just
Yeah.
the reliable guy. Once
Another way
Mike
to
Williams
sell it.
went down, right? Once Mike Williams went down, and that's part of the story, but still Allen can be that guy. He can shoulder a lot of a passing game if necessary, but it's not necessary now because he's got DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. You mentioned Odunze, and that there's the photo and there's the flight, there's the chemistry, the rookie chemistry there. I think like CJ Stroud and Tank Dell, but CJ Stroud also supported Nico Collins, but now we get to a third mouth to feed, Stephon Diggs. You see the parallels here, okay? And in both cases, you have three wide receivers going very high in fantasy drafts on each team. Like, how's this going to work? And it really relies on the quarterback to unlock the value. And you feel a lot better about that with CJ Stroud than you do with Caleb Williams. And then Cecil, you start to project Shane Waldron's job, right? Acclimating Caleb Williams to this offense. And I get it, layups to Keenan Allen make a lot of sense. But when we think about Caleb Williams, where's the strength in his game? Is it playing within structure? Is it just timing, rhythm, passing? I don't think so, really. I mean, I think it's maybe more the downfield stuff, the aspirational stuff that Odunze and DJ Moore can make happen. And while we're at it, DJ Moore is also a wide receiver that you can manufacture touches to get an
Yeah.
offense on schedule. So you have two tight ends in Komet and Everett. So you have them talking about DeAndre Swift and his ability to catch the ball in the backfield. So I just don't know if Keenan Allen is going to be remotely as primary an option for a quarterback that is going to be still, there's going to be some growth period where I don't, we can't expect any rookie quarterback to be CJ Stroud and just automatically turn his offense into one of the top passing offenses in the league. So all these things tell me that by the time Caleb Williams is really able to take advantage of a player like Keenan Allen, well, that might be 2 or 3 years from now. Keenan Allen won't be with the Bears anymore.
All
Who
right.
knows where he'll be, and who knows if he'll still be the same player, if he'll still be healthy. So when we think about dynasty cells, what happens is the hive mind, it kind of settles around a conventional wisdom around a player, and it isn't simple. There's glass half full and glass half empty takes, but events will trigger awareness in that hive mind. And these are foreseeable events. And in the case of both Allen and Samuel, see, so they're just going to look like very different players a year or two from now. So even if you're selling low, let's say you're getting like 75 cents on the dollar, even 50 cents on the dollar for these guys right now, within 6 to 12 months, might be very happy that you got that.
Yeah. It's the market. It's knowing the entry point and it's knowing the exit point and knowing that it could get worse. Now, let's go from where Keenan came from and talk about Quentin Johnston. I'm ready to punt on him. Now, perhaps I should be more patient, Bloom. Usually takes a wide receiver a few years, usually, not always. But then I just look at Lad McConkey. I just look at how that offense is going to be structured. I'm like, Justin Herbert's amazing. Quentin Johnston less so. So he's a little bit of all the players on our list today. He's
Yeah.
probably the tougher sell because it hasn't done much of anything. I mean, you'd still be relying on if someone in your league really liked him coming out of college,
Right, right,
it'd be like how Sean Payton thinks of Zach Wilson, right? Zach Wilson can't play. I saw him with
right.
the first team this week. He's terrible. But Sean Payton's like, we really liked him coming out of BYU. This ain't Provo, baby. Like this is
Right, right.
NFL. Like Quentin Johnston. If someone liked him coming out of college, maybe you can still get something on the dollar.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Again, we talk about this in terms of discounts because if you're selling Quentin Johnston, you're selling him low, obviously.
Mhm.
See, so you can think about it in terms of rookie draft picks, right? Um, or even specific rookies, right? I mean, would you trade Quentin Johnston straight up for like Javon Baker right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's like a late second round pick, early
Yeah.
third round pick. You
Mhm.
know,
Yep.
I mean, so you're already discounting. You drove the car off the lot. You drove the Quentin Johnson off the lot, and it's already the value has already dropped. Okay, but you're saying I'm willing to get out at a loss because is this a situation that's going to be conducive for him to grow? You have Lad McConkey in the slot again. The profile on Johnson was pretty straightforward, big and very dangerous with the ball in his hands, fast, not a polished route runner yet, not someone who's got the bag of tricks of releases and strategies to win against NFL outside cornerbacks. But that's okay. They could ease him into that role. No, Josh Palmer and Mike Williams go down, and Johnston struggles. And see, this is where we start to implicate confidence. Now with Lad McConkey, you're basically saying you're pushing Johnston out there and outside again, and saying, well, sink or swim. Sanjay Lal is the wide receiver coach. Greg Roman, this offense. Yeah, I mean, you think about a Harbaugh Roman offense. Does that feel like some place like fertile soil for wide receivers? Right. And remember, they took Brendan Rice, they took uh, Cornelius Johnson out of Michigan's program. Hey, Johnson fits that Nico Collins, Donovan Peoples Jones mold
Yep.
where there's
Yep.
there's a lot more physical talent there than we're giving credit for because he's not featured in Michigan's offense. Okay. But Jim Harbaugh brought him to the Chargers. So if Quentin Johnson isn't growing as an outside receiver, here's some young, hungry, younger. I'm just making up that word right now. Young and hungry,
Yeah. Yeah.
youngry. Uh,
Youngry.
so this is all this could all get real this could get a lot worse, really quickly for Quentin Johnston. So yeah, I think you absolutely you try to find in your dynasty league those bargain hunters, people who are more uh, given to analytics or just saying like, well, hey, give me any first round wide receiver that is this cheap in year two. But sometimes there's a good reason they're that cheap, and they're probably going to get cheaper.
Yeah, probably going to get cheaper. I don't know what to think of Jerry Jeudy. Now we have the news this week of Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Barry both getting an extension. And to me, Bloom, when that news came down, I even put it in our newswire at footballguys.com. Make sure to like and subscribe and share this video. Also, subscribe to our free daily newsletter, footballguys.com. I said, well, it means that these guys are going to be around after Deshaun Watson. Okay. Sean Payton really wanted to make Jerry Jeudy work. It didn't work. And now a new spot. And again, I'm thinking like, is he a buy or a sell? Is he a hold? Is he a
Yeah.
hold because you have to? Like, and then what about after Deshaun Watson? Because it seems like this team is making plans for that whenever that can happen.
Yeah. Again, cease uncertainty ahead. Unless you think that Deshaun Watson is going to find his old game. I guess that's Ken Dorsey's job. That's why he got the job, is to help him find his game. But no, this does not feel like a Cleveland offense, does not feel like an offense where wide receivers, pass catchers are going to overachieve, right? Joe Flacco ain't walking through that door. Jameis Winston might be, but still, maybe, is it Jameis Winston of old? Is it Tampa Jameis Winston, or even Sean Payton Jameis Winston? Yeah, probably not. I mean, just uh, this is definitely a situation where you're pessimistic about Jerry Jeudy because, well, see, you can speak firsthand to this. You have many times on the show, see, obstacles, a lot of obstacles to Jerry Jeudy living up to expectations in Denver. Roughly, what percentage of those obstacles are in the sphere of Jeudy himself?
75%.
Oh my, yeah, it was like sell, 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 sell. Well, I'm just saying because he takes that with him. He
Hmm.
takes he takes that with him from Denver to Cleveland. And we're talking about a situation that, if there's Cooper and Joku and Elijah Moore still kicking around there, and hopefully Nick Chubb can go back to his role, as the point of the spear. And really, you're taking stuff off of Deshaun Watson's plate. But like you said, Cease, I think that what has to leach into everyone's mind at this point is, yes, the Browns did something very foolish and gave Deshaun Watson that fully guaranteed contract. The league has already commented on it. You see any fully guaranteed contracts for quarterbacks going on out there? No. The
Right.
league has already said this was wrong. Now the football gods are going to come in with a little bit of a delay and put on the Brown shoulders, like you said, Cease, pondering a future without Deshaun Watson. So you already have Jeudy with self-inflicted wounds. Okay, then you have a situation that has uncertainty coming and isn't exactly a peak passing game and a quarterback at the peak of his game to begin with. So, yeah, I don't think he's a hold because, again, I think he's one of those players that because of the first round tag, because of maybe it was Denver, maybe it was Nathaniel Hackett, Russell Wilson, and so on and so forth. Like, look at all these things. He just never had a chance. And see, I think the other way you sell it with Jeudy is you do point to some games, some short stretches where he did look like the player. It was a debate between him and CD Lamb in the
Right.
I mean, this was like it's really considered like who's and now we see how far short he's fallen, and it's thinking here at least that the fall continues.
Yeah, I hope you like workout videos, Cleveland, because that's what you're going to get. Now, full disclosure for the viewing and listening audience.
Wow,
Well,
cold. It's
yeah,
cold in Cleveland. I mean,
it, it
cold
is.
in
It
Denver
is
sometimes
cold
too.
in Denver too. We were going to talk about Cortland Sutton, but full disclosure, I want to talk to Court next week.
Okay.
I'll be talking
Ooh.
to Court next week. I want to see like and get a feel for where he's at. There's some good things with this offense that Court could fulfill. So give me a week and I'll have more of an opinion on Cortland Sutton. So let's finish with Christian Watson.
Mm.
And this might be the most foolish player that I put on this list, Bloom. This might be the player that you say, Lammy's crazy again. Christian Watson, no way am I selling him because all he needs to do is stay healthy. But
Right.
I look at the progress of Jordan Love. We all appreciate that. I look at what you could get from Marshawn Lloyd out of the backfield. I look at all the other receivers that are ascending and talents that I love in
Mm.
Green Bay. Watson's got talent that's super easy to see. That's not even part of this conversation. It's just, can you sell him to someone before he gets hurt again? Because what was the word like a month ago we got on the news? Like, there's a new technique they're using so his hamstrings don't get messed up all the time. I'm like, what? All right. It's one of those things where I'd rather just wash my hands.
Yeah. Again, Cease, we can be cold and analytical about this. Speaking of cold, and we look at the forks, the flow chart of what's going to happen with Watson. Okay, first of all, like you said, he might get hurt again, and you have this story of going to Madison, going to the university, and this is exciting, by the way. Cease, I don't know if we've got a chance to really put this out there as a specific topic to delve into for a second. The idea of science evidence-based inquiries into the why behind injury prone players, right? When
Mhm.
a player is like, I just can't get over the hump with something recurring or something, it's like an issue, almost like a ghost in your house that moves around in the body and it's some disturbance, but they can't quite pin down how to get it to calm down. And with Watson, it's the asymmetry in his legs. And, uh, Eric Stokes, watch this with Green Bay because they have Eric Stokes, a former first round pick, who said he feels faster than he was, coming out now that they figured out how it's like his foot problem that's affecting his leg. Anyway, so maybe it worked, and maybe Watson can stay healthy. But if he can't, now, he's really full on in the damaged goods bin, the injury prone player part of, this is who he is. Will Fuller is the player I think that comes to mind. And Will Fuller had some stretches where you could get people to pay a big price for him. I mean, there was some very optimistic stretches when Will Fuller was healthy and good. So again, we're not denying the talent here. But let's say Christian Watson can't stay healthy. I'm going to cite our nephew, Matt Harmon, who we love so much, Reception Perception, and all of the essential wide receiver takes. I think he put out there, when he put out Christian Watson's charts recently, he's a less is more kind of wide receiver. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Of course,
right?
Matt would have that because he's
Of
the
course.
greatest.
Yeah, just encapsulate, like, I mean, maybe Christian Watson, and look, isn't this the ideal roster and offense to do this? I mean, maybe he's a receiver who's out there 60% of the time, right? I mean, he's Marquez Valdez-Scantling if Marquez Valdez-Scantling was good, right? I mean, not I mean, in terms of the
I was
role,
cold.
right? That's cold. Well, I'm saying, like, it's the same idea where maybe he's not, you don't use him, he's not a Swiss Army knife in terms of a route tree, but that's okay. He's not DK Metcalf, where he's just so dominant that you say, whatever, you have him out there all the time, and you don't need him to, because you have Reed and Dobbs and Wicks, and you have 2 tight end sets with Kraft and Musgrave. So isn't this just perfect for roster management for the Packers and player management, that you say, Christian Watson, we only have you in certain 2 wide receiver and 3 wide receiver sets 60% of the time out there, roughly, and he can have a big impact, and for best ball he can still be an asset, and maybe the peaks are so good that he's still an asset. So still, the buy take here on Watson is just what he adds to the offense. And look, he's done it twice already. Last year, right before he got hurt, oh boy, here were coming these 2 touchdown eruptions again. Just that he can be that kind of player. When Gabe Davis was really having his biggest influence on the game, that kind of player maybe only gets 5 or 6 targets, but one of them is going to be a long touchdown, maybe 2, once or twice a year, maybe 3. So that role could still hit for fantasy, but we're way deep on the ifs and the rabbit trails of how we get there with Christian Watson. So again, just the math says there's a lot more ways this can go wrong than go right, even though it can still go right for Watson and go right for the Packers, but for fantasy, leave you wanting more because a part-time player seems like the best role for him.
So what you're saying is Christian Watson is the Sex Panther of fantasy football. 60% of the time, it works every time. Sorry, Joe. Hey, can you stop with the Sex Panther jokes on the show, buddy? Anyway, it's what we do on this program. It is the Audible. Hey, help us grow our YouTube channels, plural. We have our Audible channel. About 50% of you that watch aren't subscribed. Please subscribe. It helps us as we push towards 30,000 YouTube subscribers. Thank you for that. We also have 2 new channels, Football Guys Fantasy Football Channel. Subscribe to that. Football Guys Dynasty Channel. Make sure to subscribe to that as well. And if you want to support the show, check out footballguys.com. Get a subscription. It's the way to support the Audible. He's Sigmund Bloom. Follow him on Twitter X. Hey, X, whatever. Twitter at Sigmund Bloom and Matt Cecil Lammey. The show's at the Audible saying thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and would you please stay frosty.